Monday Night Raw was last night. I have 4 key takeaways for my thoughts on the episode. To me, it was one of the worst episodes of the Netflix era, and I'll explain in those 4 key takeaways here on Screw the Script. First key takeaway, it's the obvious one. It's the one that everybody's probably talking about after last night's Raw. We're getting Goldberg back, and I don't like it. Here's reason number 1 why I don't like Goldberg coming back. 1, I think it's just a cheap ratings pop. We've seen Raw's Netflix viewership just keep declining week and week out since their debut episode. I know they hinted at this months ago with Gunther when he made a shot at Goldberg's son, but was that really enough for him to prepare for a return and immediately get a title shot out of that? And he's almost 60 years old. That's kind of going into reason number 2. Why? He is retired. He's almost 60. And it's not like he was, a full-time competitor that worked his way up to a title shot. He just comes back and gets to say, "You're next," like his usual gimmick. And I guess it's a title shot. I really don't like this. A lot of people like to call him Oldberg. I find myself calling him that as well. I mean, he was gassed by the time he got to the ring and finished his speech. I mean, we all know that Gunther's going to carry that match. And I really am not looking forward to it. Obviously, he got a good pop from the fans, but in my opinion, it doesn't take much to get a pop from WWE fans. They were chanting "holy shit" last night at one point, just when Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins were locking eyes across the ring from each other in a promo. I mean, I've said this before, it really doesn't take much to get that casual wrestling fan base to go "holy shit." You do one sort of cool move and they go nuts for it. So that's the first point. The second one is one that I've stressed on before, and unfortunately we saw another injury last night. Liv Morgan dislocated her shoulder. That takes typically about 3 months to heal from. So the Summer Liv movement that she tried to have going on, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. She's more than likely probably going to miss SummerSlam at this point even. They'll be lucky to have her back before then, now that we are closing the end of June. But it's not the injury itself, it's the fact that they have had a lot of injuries lately, as of recent. In the last year, we remember Bronson Reed blowing both his knees. We saw, I forget her name off the top of my head. She blew her knee a couple weeks ago on Raw. Now we see Liv Morgan pop her shoulder out of place. Apparently Logan Paul is hurt and got hurt from a bump at his match at Backlash, or whatever his last match was. The common issue here is that, and it kind of ties in, it's like 2 points in one. These injuries, I feel partly are happening because the conditioning of WWE wrestlers has dropped significantly because they're not wrestling that much. Last night's Raw was almost exactly 2 hours and 30 minutes. I think it clocked in at like 2 hours, 26 minutes. And there wasn't even an hour of wrestling. There were only 4 matches, really only 3, because the 4th one, Liv got hurt 30 seconds into it, if it was even 30 seconds. The longest match of the night was the opening women's Fatal 4-Way in that tournament, and that was the only good match of the night, besides Styles. The Styles match was just a cookie-cutter match. He looked good in it, but it was nothing special to me because it was another, on-the-nose 10-minute match, give or take, 10, 20 seconds. And then the other match that we saw, the main event, the entrances and the promos before they even started the match took longer than the actual match lasted because it didn't even go. I was watching the replay again, so I paused the episode with 21 minutes left to go by the time the ring bell actually rang. But we saw about 5 minutes of random goofy shit at the end of the episode, so it wasn't even a 20-minute match. It was shorter than the first match. It was about 15 minutes. That's all we got. So that's about a little over 30 minutes from that match, plus another 10 for the Styles match. That's 40. So we didn't even get 45 minutes of wrestling last night on a 2.5-hour episode of Raw. And I really think this has to do with the fact that their conditioning is fucking awful now. They don't wrestle anymore. And when they do, they get hurt. And a counter argument on the other side to bash AEW, people are always like, oh, they're doing too much. You know, their matches have too many false finishes. It has, too many weapons involved. They're bleeding all the time. Yes, like I see that point. But you also have to be fair and not be, a hypocrite when they try and do that on the other side and they get hurt from it because they can't do it. They never do it. And now they're getting hurt just from basic bumps. I mean, like Liv Morgan literally just took a quick bump on her stomach and her shoulder popped out of place. And that gruesome knee injury that happened about a month ago, I forget her name. I keep forgetting it. It was literally just jumping off the top. That one didn't even have that one was no contact. Like she didn't get contact from another female competitor. That was just her landing improperly. And it's just going to keep happening, unfortunately. Another key takeaway is that I feel like TKO and WWE are just becoming more and more separated from the fans. Like they feel so disconnected. Look at these photos. We already talked about Goldberg, but here's one right here explaining how nobody wanted this. And I even took screenshots on another example right here on Instagram. People just saying like nobody wanted this. And it was nonstop negative comments. But they're not going to care about what the fans want anymore or care about. They just care about what they think's going to draw them money. And it's just awful to see. And then you have Jey Uso winning the main event tonight right after losing the World Heavyweight Championship. So they're still trying to push him. I really don't think that he deserved to win that match, but it was the obvious outcome. It felt like TKO is just, it's like they don't want to give wrestling for WWE fans. Why is this entire tournament all fatal four-ways? Why couldn't they have just had singles matches? Why couldn't they have just had a legitimate tournament for a change and give us, 6 matches on an episode of Raw and give us, 90 to 100 minutes of wrestling on an episode of Raw instead of 45 minutes or less like we got tonight. That's all I had on this episode of Screw the Script. You let me know down below what you think about the Goldberg stuff, the Liv Morgan stuff, and the injuries that WWE has been more consistently having lately. Do you agree with me that it has to do with their conditioning, the fact that they just don't put out matches really anymore? Because to me, it really is part of it. I mean, it's no different with like any sport, like football players. If you just have them sit on the bench all the time and then you're like, okay, get out there for this one game, they're going to get hurt because they're not going through practices. They're not taking the actual tackles really. And their body just becomes, prone to injury because they're not doing anything. And that's what happens in WWE now. I mean, when's the last time that most of the champions don't ever have matches weekly anymore? If they do, they're part of some cheap tag match or something, or they just have like a little beatdown after a promo. Rarely do they have matches on Raw now. Cody, Gunther, we saw AJ Styles and JD, so that was pretty good. But the champ wasn't the one that had the match. You get my point. Yeah. Anyways, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.